Good morning, everybody. I'm Brent Gann, and I'm the Chief Communications Officer for Missouri School Boards Association. And I'm also here today representing the Coalition for Missouri's Future, which is a group of more than 50 organizations that have come together. We come together on various issues, but in this particular case, to oppose any override attempt of Senate Bill 509. And we want to share our concerns about that bill with you today and urge the General Assembly to vote no on any veto override attempt that may occur in the coming days. Let me just say up front that Senate Bill 509 will hurt our students and our school districts throughout the state when fully implemented. In addition to the harm it would do to K-12 education, it would also require spending cuts for higher education, mental health services, and other essential services funded with state revenue. We're estimating that state funding for our schools would be cut by about $223 million a year when the bill is fully implemented. And that's a best case scenario, assuming a state revenue loss of somewhere between $620 and $800 million a year. Now, we also know there's a provision in the bill that raises the issue of the possible elimination of the top state income tax bracket. And if that were to take place, the state, of course, would lose about $4.8 billion in revenue, or about 65% of general revenue. And a loss of that magnitude, obviously, would be catastrophic for K-12 education and other essential services. And at minimum, we think there would be a legal dispute over that issue that would likely cause years of uncertainty regarding our tax code and could easily wreak havoc on the entire economy of the state. So that's why we're urging members of the General Assembly to abandon any attempt to override the likely veto of this disastrous bill. Now, we have some other folks here to speak this morning, and so I'll introduce them, and then we'll have some time for questions. First is the president-elect of the Missouri School Boards Association. He's also a school board member here in Jefferson City, Doug Whitehead.
Thank you, Brent. Thanks, everyone, for being here, and good morning. Again, I'm Doug Whitehead, local school board member here in Jefferson City, and president-elect of the Missouri School Boards Association. Well, here we are again. Last year, House Bill 253. This year, Senate Bill 509. Some perceive this to be a fight, a partisan fight. I submit that we'd all be better served if we were collaborating on sound public policy regarding tax cuts and education funding instead of orchestrating political strategy. I would love it if this process would exemplify what we teach all our kids at home, at church, and at their school of choice. Manners, respect, and collaboration. Certainly not bullying. A very current example of partisanship tactics versus professional policy partnering is occurring today. Supporters of state tax cuts are bringing in outsiders attempting to rally support for this latest misguided tax scheme. Who are Missourians going to trust? Someone from outside our great state with an ideological agenda, or the tireless leaders that they've elected in their communities who devote themselves day in and day out to all kids in our state? They strive to ensure we have the resources that we need to make our communities great and the families we serve, allowing them to have a great place to raise their families. When people like me use the word kids, I don't use that word as a strategy word. Educators and education leaders see the faces of kids, and they are real. Public education is under attack in Missouri. I used to say in our country, but I'm worried about the attacks in Missouri. Individuals are spending millions of dollars attacking school bond issues and candidates. MSBA's mission is helping school boards succeed. Over time, well before any of our current legislators were in office, and well after they'll be gone, MSBA has worked with Republicans and Democrats for the greater good of all kids, all school boards, and ultimately the vitality of the communities where these kids and local leaders live. Let's not lose sight of public education's value and impact on our communities. If supporters of 509 are wrong and the education funding formula dollars continue to shrink, who has to pick up the tab? You and me at home through property taxes. Now, we also know that there are a lot of school districts in Missouri where the school district, there's lots of communities in Missouri where the school district is the largest employer. What happens if funding shrinks and we're damaging these districts? And we're not only damaging the kids, but we're damaging the people that teach there and the businesses that serve them. What if they're wrong? What if these legislators are wrong on Senate Bill 509? Most of them will be term limited out when new legislators have to pick up the pieces, or even worse, have to ask voters statewide to raise our taxes to fix these mistakes. We live in a low tax state, and if revenues rise now, it's due to our current tax structure, our current low tax structure. No one likes or should pay more taxes than are needed. If our tax structure needs an overhaul, then overhaul it. Stop tweaking it and hope that it works, or hoping that there are no negative unintended consequences attached. In the next few days, our legislature may attempt to override a governor veto. As has been mentioned, if this bill passes, it's likely to reduce state aid to schools by at least $223 million. For my district in Jefferson City, the cut to our budget will be around $2.3 million, which will derail the budgeting and planning we've done effectively for over 20 years. $223 million is a big number. In the legislative arena, we sometimes lose perspective of what a big number that is. However, it pales in comparison to the $4.8 billion potential loss if the top state income bracket is eliminated. Now, both sides are saying each side is wrong. My response to this is someone is right. So do your own research. Don't rely on me. Don't rely on news outlets, the internet, legislator brochures, etc. I suggest you dig deeper. Who's creating the messaging? A private college professor? A former judge who is a law partner in a firm with a member of the leadership in the House of Representatives that does business with a variety of people? Do your own research. I will stop and make two final points. School districts and Board of Educations are asked to meet our obligations, and we're asked or told to be accountable. We urge legislators to meet their current legal obligation to fund the foundation formula, which is currently under about $600 million. We'd ask them to do that before patching the existing tax code with Senate Bill 509. There are simply too many unknowns and too many smart people disagreeing on the impact. Lastly, let's work together. I'm asking you to work together with me around the state to change the conversation about kids. Public education is a great institution. It's the foundation of our democracy. We have many things to work on together, and we've promised to always seek continuous improvement. Now, don't manipulate my words. We have issues, as does everyone. But at this point, we have momentum in our schools. Let's promote positivity, continuous improvement, and intellectual discourse, and not allow political gamesmanship to control our policy discussions. Thank you.
All right, thanks very much, Doug. Next, I'd like to introduce Ron Sargent, and Ron is representing the AARP.
Thank you, Bert. Let me start by saying I'm a volunteer for AARP, and I'm also a retired school teacher from Columbia, Missouri. So I have kind of two horses in this race. Today I represent seniors, and I want to just point out that if you walk with a typical senior and say, guess what, we have a great idea to cut taxes, most seniors are going to jump on that. Because one of the great fears of the retirement years is, how long will it last? How long can I be comfortable or semi-comfortable? And if someone offers this kind of an opportunity, seniors are sometimes reacting in their own best interest, or in this case, acting in their disinterest, which they think is their best interest. And that's one of the reasons why it's really important for us to try to reach out to those seniors in the state of Missouri. SB 509 will negatively impact seniors by reducing critical services and actually costing them more in the long run. Vulnerable seniors rely on a number of services that would be at risk due to SB 509's revenue cuts. Tens of thousands of seniors depend on services like home-delivered meals, caregiver supports, and other home and community-based services in order to maintain their dignity and their independence. All of these, as well as crucial long-term services, would be placed at risk under the cuts required by SB 509. Moreover, local governments will likely try to make up for lost funding by increasing sales or property taxes, which obviously hurts seniors who are on a fixed income, and it hurts them the hardest. Seniors can't afford the increased fees and taxes that will likely result from SB 509, nor can they afford the devastating impact on their quality of life. Therefore, AARP urges the governor to veto SB 509 and for the legislature to uphold that veto. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ron. And next we have Cindy Keel, and Cindy is with the National Alliance for Mental Illness.
I got that right.
Yeah, oh, good.
Well, thank you, Brent, and hello, everyone. I'm Cindy Keel. I'm the Executive Director of NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness of Missouri. For those of you who don't know, we are the statewide volunteer-based organization dedicated to improving the quality of life and recovery for children and adults with mental illness. And I'm here to speak out against the override on SB 509 because of its implications for mental health services in our state. If the governor's veto does not stand, the loss of revenue will have a devastating impact on education, higher education, as you've heard, social services, healthcare, state infrastructure, and mental health services. I'm going to talk to you about mental health services. When revenues fall short, there are just a few places where our state legislator and our governor can go to make cuts. This is because we have a number of essential services in Missouri that have to be covered, and mental health is not in that category. So mental health gets the cut very often. It's almost a certainty that our already seriously underfunded mental health system is going to be hurt. During the current economic crisis, our state made some of the largest cuts to mental health services in the nation. That amounted to more than $100 million since 2009. In short, what I'm telling you is our mental health system is already in shambles. A 2009 study conducted by NAMI called Missouri's Mental Health Safety Net shredded and almost non-existent. Cutting mental health services will have a ripple effect throughout our entire society. Sensational headlines aside, denying treatments to adults with mental illness often leads to self-treatment with drugs and alcohol. Families fracture from the stresses of providing care. People lose jobs and the social connections that are so important to their recovery. And far too often, their untreated symptoms land them in jail or homeless on the street, and that's just not acceptable. The impact on our children is even more tragic. With proper treatment and adequate services, children with mental health needs like autism, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and other related illnesses can complete their educations and join society as a fulfilled, productive citizen. Because their brains are still developing, denial of treatment can lead to lifelong disability, and that is preventable. Totally preventable. Today, mental illnesses cause more disability than any other class of illness, affecting about 1 in 4 Missourians. The rate is higher for children. We need to restore the pre-recession funding levels we had for mental health services and then do more. And that will be impossible if 509 is overridden. So we want to urge our lawmakers and every citizen in Missouri to stand up and tell their legislators and the governor that we are standing behind them in supporting the veto. Anyway, thank you so much for listening.